Hi guys, Jimmy Fluke here for Apex Racing Academy. Today we take a look at the Mercedes-AMG GT4 at Hungaroring for week 5 of the Falcon Tire Sports Car Challenge, as well as these track guides that we're giving away for the Mercedes-AMG GT4 for free this season. We've also got the setups, both qualifying and race. We've got the reference lap files, so that's the B lap and O lap files, replay files. We've also got access to the group coaching sessions through Discord, and all that information will be available in your email order once you sign up at apexracingac.com. In terms of the track this week, Hungaroring's a slippery track like we've had at earlier points in the season with Indianapolis and Okayama, so it's not its best track, but we can still fight. We can still be somewhat competitive here, so let's get stuck into the hot lap. Another reminder, guys, that this season's Mercedes-AMG GT4 data pack is available for free over at apexracingac.com or by following the link in the description below. So, in towards turn 1 here at Hungaroring in the Mercedes-AMG GT4. Really tricky to get the braking right because there's no set reference here. It's kind of just sort of look for a tire mark that you like the look of that's pretty close to sort of halfway between the 200 and 100, sort of maybe 130, and then committing to it and hitting the brakes nice and hard in a straight line. So when we get down to second gear, it might be a first gear corner, but just with the limited traction that we have available to us at this circuit, second gear will be absolutely fine. So bleeding off the brake as we turn in, trying not to take all of the inside curb here. That will upset the car as we try and pick up the throttle. Once onto the flat part of the inside curb, then we'll introduce our throttle, an initial snap to about 70% or so, and then slowly feed the rest of it through, and that should allow us to track out, remaining within track limits. As long as we touch the red and white curb on exit, then we're good to go. From here, then we can bring the car over to the right-hand side and set up turn 2. So nice and tight over to the inside white line, and then spot the 100 board on the right-hand side, and braking just after that, and just before the start of the red and white curbing on the right-hand side. That's actually quite a nice reference to use throughout the entire lap. So onto the brakes, not quite as high on the peak pressure this time. We want to sort of maintain decent control of the car on the brakes on the way in here. The track falls away from us as well, so nice and gentle, nice and smooth, take it nice and patient on the way in here. So down into second, once again, we're just going to wrap the white line here on the inside, again avoiding the meat of the inside curb. And as soon as the front wants to tuck back in, then we can pick up the throttle and open up the steering and try and exit how we wish to. In a higher downforce car, we would track a little bit wider than this, but only halfway across in the GT4, back up into third gear so that we can open up the angle then for turn 3. Turn 3 in theory then will be easy flat. If you're not able to take this flat, then you've carried too much speed through turn 2. Don't need to take any of the inside curb, and then up into fourth gear, and again the red and white curbing is our track limit here on the outside. So roll it through towards turn 4, just nice and simple, nice and straightforward, just over to the right hand side and spot the sector line going across the circuit and braking pretty much right on that, and again just slightly before the red and white curbing here on the right hand side. So gentle onto the brake, 50% or so pressure, down into third, and trying to take as much off of the inside as we can without off tracking, which means all 4 tyres inside there of the white line. It's very easy to pick up the off track here because it's so tempting to take more curb off the inside here to give ourselves more room on exit. Once here then, we can apply some throttle just to carry our momentum through, stabilise the car as well, and then track out as wide as we wish. We can either take a little bit of our exit here and keep all 4 wheels inside of the green and white curbing, or we can throw it a little bit wider. But whatever option you choose, commit to it, but know then what you need to do through turn 5. So roll it through. In this case, got slightly beached, but no harm done. And then before the barrier ends on the left-hand side here, the tyre barrier, then onto the brakes and try and feed the car in towards the apex. So in this case, I was a little bit on the wider side. You can bring it further across, but that means a slower minimum speed there through turn 4. So just a little trail brake, keeping the car in third. And again, as soon as we can hold the white line and the front wants to tuck back in, then we can introduce the throttle. And the track limits here on exit, this is the one outlier, is a little bit more contentious. More than half the car needs to stay to the inside here of the white line, I'm pretty sure. So this is about as wide as we can go. But it's a really short run then up to turn 6, so as long as we get a nice straight exit, we're good to go. And then just as the curbing starts here on the left-hand side, just ramming it out in third gear. We'll get down into second, so reasonably firm on the brakes, but again, not massively firm. We're not taking actually all that much speed off. And the important thing is that we place the car accurately over the inside curb here on the right. Again, trying to avoid the off track, but take as much curb as is possible. So up over the inside, and ideally then full throttle with a small clip of the anti-cut curb there on the left-hand side. That should then allow you to have enough room on exit, grabbing third gear and setting yourself up for the rest of the middle sector here. So into turn 8 or 9, braking just before the Rolex banner here on the right-hand side, and we're aiming to take plenty of inside curb here. Truthfully, I'm not looking at that banner and kind of just looking at the apex, and eyeballing it. So a little trail brake, feed the car in third, let the car settle on the inside curb before introducing our throttle again, and keeping the car fairly tight over to the left-hand side before then flicking the car back to the right-hand side for what is then, yes, turn 9. Just gently float the car in. I try not to take too much inside curb here. If I don't get this right, getting up onto the top part of the curbing here, then the car will either step out or wash away, so it's a lot easier just to sort of roll around the outside of the curb here. Slow introduction of the throttle once again, and tracking out using all of the exit curbing. But be disciplined here. Bring the car reasonably far over to the right-hand side to set up turn 10 so that we can take this flat out, up into fourth. Again, discipline with our curb usage here. We don't want to slide off this curb and mean then that we can't approach turn 11 in the way that we wish. So over to the left-hand side and braking again just where the curb starts here on the left-hand side. And we'll go down one gear into third. And again, I try and not take the top part of the curbing here. The Mercedes does rotate well enough at this sort of speed, and in a third gear corner like this, it will sort of come around quite nicely, so I don't need to worry too much about understeering wide on exit here. So once the curb ends on the right-hand side, I can commit to full throttle, and as long as my right side wheels are touching the red and white curbing, then we are good to go. Just do be careful not to let the car get pulled too far wide, but then it's a nice simple run down towards turn 12 and the start of the final sector. So just where the curbing begins, just before we actually get to the red and white curbing, onto the brakes here on the left-hand side. Second gear on entry here, and sort of throw the car over this inside curb and try and make the car rotate on this top part of the curbing so that we can get the car straightened quicker and get the power down more efficiently. So up over the curb, strong with the throttle, let the car bobble around a bit and bounce so that it will sort of pinch around quite nicely. And again, using all of the curbing available to us on exit. Up into third gear and bring the car slowly across over to the right hand side and use this Marshall hut on the right hand side as reference for getting onto the brakes for turn 13. So gentle sort of lawn sweeping, trail braking approach here. So not a high peak pressure, but we're braking for a long period of time. Down to the second gear, and as per usual, once the front end begins to tuck in, then we can start to introduce throttle sort of in this sort of area here. You'll be able to feel when the front end starts to dig in, and that's your cue to begin accelerating off the corner. So again, avoiding inside curb when we're trying to generate traction. We're not looking for extra rotation here. The car will come around quite nicely for us. Out towards the red and white curbing, but not all the way out wide. We need to bring the car over across towards the left-hand side to set up the final corner. So across we come, and basically turning in from this Marshall hut and aiming for the inside white line from here. I've left the car in third gear for traction reasons more than anything. You can definitely grab second and then begin to pick up the throttle just as we come past the pit wall here, or where the curbing changes on the right hand side. We can be quite aggressive in third gear. In fact, I was maybe a little bit safe, but that means that I have plenty of traction to work with on exit. Again, we can use all of the red and white curbing on exit, and then it's a short run to the line for a lap of Hungaroring in the Mercedes-AMG GT4. So that's it for us this week. Thanks very much for watching. For access to the free data pack, once again, it is at apexracingac.com, where you can find the Discord server as well, where you can ask any further questions from me. And that's where the information for the group coaching session on a Tuesday evening will be announced. So that's it from me this week. See you guys in the next one.